Coming up next, how to avoid burnout during the job search, and I'm going to help you understand your unique role. We'll take your calls and your chats, and it starts now. I am coming to you live from Ramsey Studios, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you can do it, where you want to do it, and how to actually get there. It is about your purpose, your contribution, because you were created to fill a unique role through your work. In other words, somebody out there needs you to show up and be you and contribute your talent, your passion, your mission, because they're a part of that. So it's not about selfish ambition and just success for the sake of comfort. No, it's about significance for the sake of contribution. And that's what we're talking about here. So if you're scared, you're confused, you're full of doubt, no idea where to start, the Ken Coleman Show is for you. A couple ways you can engage. First, the phone number. It's a free phone call, 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. Madison standing by. We've got a couple of open phone lines. If you're new to the program, listen in for a little bit, watch. And then I ask that you consider trusting me, that I'm going to be for you and help you pull out maybe some answers that you've never been able to do on your own. Or can I help a friend, a family member? So a couple ways to engage. As you're watching, if you enjoy the program, give us a thumbs up. That helps us get in front of more eyeballs here on YouTube. And you can subscribe and share the episode. So we'll get to your chats a little bit later in the program. Submit those chat questions right there next to the video window, and we'll get to those. They're going to come to me right here on my laptop. All right, saw this article from Forbes magazine. I thought this is great. Now, I'm not a big fan of talking about burnout. If you've listened to this program before, I think burnout is a feeling. It's not a fact. There are things that are causing you to feel burned out, and the feelings, again, are real, but it's not just this mysterious, well, I'm burned out. No. That's the symptom. We always want to get to the source. And so when it comes to feeling burned out in the job search, which can happen pretty quickly because it is physically exhausting. It's mentally exhausting. It is emotionally exhausting. That's a fact. What are some things you can do? And I saw this article. I thought it was great. Going to roll through these real quick. Number one, schedule regular breaks in the search. So if you're committing X amount of time and you're going, and getting the job has become almost like a full-time job, make sure you've got a little bit of rest. Again, that mental and physical and emotional burn needs to be addressed. Number two, make sure you're careful on the negative self-talk. You better tame it. Don't let it stay around. It's going to pop in. There's no avoiding the negativity, but you can overcome the negativity and don't let it sit in your head. Number three, keep a running list of wins. I like this. I thought this was really good. And the idea here is let's find some positives. Let's not just be optimistic for the sake of being optimistic. Let's find some small wins, and let's make sure that we record those, we journal those, and we kind of put those in the head too to combat all of the negative. Number four, surround yourself with success stories. So you've made your own list of wins, but take some positivity, some optimism from other people that are winning in the job search. So if you have to just get some good news from somebody else and how they're getting jobs or seeing good trends, go put that in your head and make sure that it stays there. And then finally, have a cheerleader to call. I love this. I'm a big fan of having that cheerleader or that coach in your life that you can just call and say, I'm weak, I'm down, I'm discouraged. I don't think I can do this anymore. I need a pep talk. And you would be surprised at how that can change everything. Changing that state of where you are in a negative state to a positive state sometimes is just as simple as having that cheerleader in your life. 844-747-2577 is the number to jump in. 844-747-2577. Now listen, coming up a little bit later in the program, I'm really going to unpack the difference between a job and a role, because I talk a lot about this idea of what's your unique role. And in your sweet spot's where you find that role. So I want to unpack that a little bit more because you play a role in a job. A career allows you to fill your role. So we're going to unpack that a little bit more so you grasp that, because it's a real simple idea that can give you breakthrough if you're looking for clarity in that get clear stage 1 of our 7 stages to meaningful work. All right, we're going to go to Orlando, Florida. Henry's going to start us off. Henry, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Yeah, hi Ken. How are you doing?
I am living the dream, Henry. What's up?
Okay, so I've been in a job search for the last couple of years. I'm currently on a project kind of basis. I'm a CPA. I have a master's in accounting. I worked for a multinational, super large company for 25 years. They forced me out a couple of years ago. So what I enjoy doing is working in a big corporate environment. I've done tax my whole career. I knew I was going to do tax from the time I was in high school, and that's exactly what I've done. Mm-hmm. So I have a question. One of my questions for you is, I've been focused on finding a role in a corporation, a larger kind of setting, a larger corporation where I feel like most of my experience and skills would be best utilized. But I'm getting like almost zero interest from companies that I'm fully qualified for, that seems like I could provide a lot of value and benefit. I can't even hardly get interviews. And so on one side of me says, well, is it because of my age? And, in today's media world, you can pretty much find out, especially on these jobs, because they're upper, they're a little higher level jobs. You can find out who's in those positions. And so, it has been almost exclusively younger people, for sure.
How old are you?
I'm 57.
Okay. All right. And of the interviews you've gotten, what evidence do you have? What have you taken away from these interviews? Have you gotten 2 interviews, or are you just getting the introductory and then nothing's happening?
Right. I've had 1 in-person interview and 3 phone interviews.
Okay. What I'm asking is, are those successive interviews, or are you just getting one-offs and you're never getting beyond the first interview?
Yes, those were all just one-offs. Most of my applications, even when I network, when I know people and I have them call, talk to people on my behalf, I generally don't get interviews.
So you are working the proximity principle. You are working your web of connections when you can, and you're getting people that have a connection to the hiring manager, and they're putting in a good word for you.
Yes, that's always what I always try that for. Yes. And I get zero interest. What do you think?
Well, so this is interesting. So that's the way I prescribe it, and that should be giving you the edge, right? It should be giving you the edge. If you've got real connections, they're going, hey, let me tell you about Henry. He's a really, really sharp guy, very experienced. I think he's a great fit. You're telling me that's happening, and then you're not even getting an interview when you've done that.
Correct.
So the only interviews you've gotten is when you do the old-fashioned, just cold submission.
Yes. One of them I did have an in. On one of the interviews, I did know somebody that I had worked with in my previous
So it has worked. So it has
probably
worked.
Played a role.
Of course it did.
It's just I've had like 3 interviews out of like 20 applications.
So these all been big business?
For the most part, yes.
Okay. Well,
so that's kind of like, I'm kind of at a point, is that a dead end? Do I need to shift my focus? No,
I don't think it's a dead end, but I do think you need to diversify. I think putting all your focus on just going to work for big corporations, I think that's not wise. There's no reason for that, because the work itself you love. And the reality is a lot of the young hotshots probably aren't applying. They probably aren't going after the small businesses, the 1 to 300 employees. Technically small business in the United States, I think, is 1 to 499 employees. So, a company of 300-400 people is a good sized company, but it's still considered small business. But I think it probably stands to reason that you're competing against a lot of younger hotshots. There's no question about it. Do I think ageism exists? Yeah, I do. I think you'd be a fool to say it doesn't exist. Somebody going, well, look, how long is Henry going to be with us? You know what I mean?
Right.
Do I think that exists? Yes. Can you and I prove that it's happened with you? I don't think we can. So it puts, as far as giving you advice, I don't have a whole lot here, because here's what I'm not aware of. I don't know if you're not doing a good job in the interview. I don't know how you're presenting yourself. There's just no way for me to know, and I'm not sure you know. unless you're like really gut level honest and you go, maybe I could do a better job in the interview. Maybe I could present myself better as not just somebody who's seasoned, but somebody who's invaluable expert because of all the things I've done and the type of stuff I love to do. I just don't know. So one thing I want you to do is I want you to go to my website, kencoleman.com, and I want you to download How to Win the Interview. It's a free resource. And it's only going to take you about 10 minutes to read. But it's a lot deeper dive than I can go through on the phone right now. But I wrote it.
Sure.
Okay, it's got all of my tips in it. I think you've got to employ that, and you got to ask yourself, have I been doing what Ken tells me to do here? That's the first thing. The second thing is what I mentioned earlier, which is you've got to start diversifying. And what do you care if you're working for a 20 to 50 member company? You know, at the end of the day, you want to be doing what you love and doing tax work and accounting and all that kind of stuff. I think I would broaden the net, make the net much wider. And at some point, you're going to run into somebody who goes, oh, gosh, Henry's perfect. We've been dying to find somebody like Henry who's got a lot of big corporate experience who can come in and change our entire business. So I think that's what you got to do. So be encouraged. Do not quit. You've got to keep working the connections to where at some point you're in the right situation meets the right connection. And this is just a game of attrition. I wish I could tell you that it's super simple and super easy all the time. It isn't. You got to work this thing. It's a very competitive market. And yeah, you are 57. People unfortunately start thinking, well, Henry may not be around more than 3 to 5 years. You know, whatever. I don't know. But I do know this. If you have a connection, a good one, and you crush the interview, I think you're going to get a gig. You're going to get some offers. This I'm sure of. So get after it. Don't quit. Let's go to Sally next in Wyandotte, Michigan. All right, very good. I've never heard of that. Sally, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Sally, I'm living the dream. What's going on?
So, Ken, I've been in HR for about the last 10 years, and I'm recently in a new role just realizing this probably isn't what I want to do forever. So I've gone through the Career Clarity Guide, but I'm really struggling to figure out my mission, you know, who I want to help most. And I'm wondering if you can help me with that.
Yeah, let's dive into that. So let's look at some clues that we can always find in talent and passion. Talent, what you do best, hard skills, soft skills, passion, the work that you really look forward to and you spend a lot of time on. High emotion, high devotion. So what did you write down? What did you have in passion? I'm curious.
Sure. It's pretty broad, but for passion, kind of in my HR background, helping others connect to each other, writing, learning new things, really passionate about cooking and food, health and wellness, history and antiques are things that I'm also really passionate about.
Okay. All right. So a couple of things that are popping out to me in the HR world, helping others connect either to a person or to a resource, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
Right.
Okay. So those people, that answers the question to who you most want to help. You want to help people who need a information connection, right? An information source, resource, or somebody who needs that connection to a person. So that was one. Then you said health and wellness. So now let's break that one down. Who do you most want to help in the health and wellness? Let's just say you were going to go into that field. Tell me who you most want to help in health and wellness. Who are the people? What are their problems?
Okay. It's so tough. Every time I think, trying to who I want to help the most, it's so hard to think of a really specific demographic or type of person.
Why? Why is that hard? I stumped you. Let me help you out.
You did.
Stop thinking about an age and a sex, a race. Stop thinking so specific and just tell me the problems you want to solve. Remember, there's 3 questions I give you in the Career Clarity Guide, and I do on the air with people. I say, who are the people you most want to help? What's the problem that they have, the need or the want that you want to solve? And then what is the solution or solutions to that want or need? So you're getting hung up on the people so specifically. Let's just talk about the problem. In health and wellness, what is the problem in health and wellness you get most fired up about being a part of the solution to? Sally?
It's so tough to answer. Just
no, it
overall,
isn't. No, it isn't.
With the health and wellness,
no, it isn't. You're getting locked up. Let me give you some examples. Do you want to help people with exercise issues, where the people, they want to get a better exercise routine and they want to be physically fit, or do you want to help them on the food side, the nutrition side, healing their body through food?
Food and nutrition, definitely.
Oh, wait a second, Sally. You see how easy that was?
You make it so easy.
Well, no, I don't really. You're locked up so much on specifics, aren't you? You're like 20 miles ahead of me right now, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah, but hold on. We'll get there. Well, we first got to know the mountain before we figure out the route up the mountain, don't we?
Yeah.
All right. So if you think back to what you wrote down for passion, all right, and you just listed it out for us, and now we just kind of did some exercise. I want you to let your mind just shut off for a moment, and I want your heart to answer. So don't think job title, qualification, how you get there. We'll get to that in a second. I just want you to tell me, if I waved my Ken Coleman Show pencil right now, and I just went, poof, and I gave you a gig, whether it's in health and wellness, HR, you pick the industry, what would you do tomorrow if you knew you couldn't fail? What's your heart telling you? What would you be doing? What kind of work? Who would you be helping? And don't get super specific. Just think of that problem, health and wellness. I want to help people be healthier. How? All right, so tell me, is it health and wellness, or is it a different category? What's at the top of your heart?
The health and wellness. I think, if I had a path without failing, I'd be helping people find a path to their own health and wellness.
Great. Now, let's pause for a second. I want you to dig into your why, because I think it's going to give you more clarity. Why is that the answer? What moves your heart to the point where you go, I'm passionate about helping people with health and wellness? What's driving that from your own life?
It's done so much for me, just from diet and exercise and making my own mind more clear.
Interesting.
And, just being a better person. So,
give me 30 seconds on Sally before and Sally after you got your health and exercise, your nutrition and exercise figured out. Give me quick 30 seconds on before Sally.
Just very fuzzy, just not motivated, not knowing what to do, and after just having so much more motivation and energy and drive to just do more every day. That's
awesome. Now, how would that feel to know at the end of the day that other women or men were saying the same thing because of what you helped them do? How would that feel?
There's not even words for it. It'd be amazing.
Oh, Sally, isn't this fun? How
you make it so easy, Ken?
Well, that's my job. I'm trying to make it easy, but all of those answers are in you. Everything that we've pulled out is out of your heart. So now, let's talk about, now that we've got talent and passion and mission figured out, the people you most want to help are people that have physical challenges. You can fill in the gap that can be solved or made better by nutrition and exercise. Isn't that who you want to help? That's just our 30,000 foot stab, right?
Right.
All right. So where in the marketplace, how many marketplace matches? This is like the match game. Now that you know who you want to help and how you want to help them, because that's what you know now. We just discussed it. So where can you help them? What are the marketplace matches? Give me 2 ideas real quick. Don't even worry about how you get there. Tell me 2 jobs in the marketplace that would allow you to do what we just said you want to do.
Maybe like a dietitian.
Boom. That's one. Great answer. No wrong answer here. Give me another one.
And like a health and wellness. It could be in HR, like a health and wellness specialist.
Yes. Yes. Uh-oh. Sally, did you hear your brain? Your brain just started brainstorming on us. So your homework assignment is to brainstorm and then do research on as many jobs, career paths in the health and wellness space that you go, that's intriguing. And then you go do research on those. What would it take? What would it take to become qualified as a dietitian, right? How much would that cost? How long would that take based on my financial situation? So that's the clarify and verify process in Get Clear. And then once you go, oh gosh, it's dietitian. That's absolutely it. I would love to be a dietitian. and you go do your homework. You go, okay, it's going to take me 3 years. I'm making this up to get qualified. It's going to take $20,000. I'm making that up. Please don't believe that number. I'm just making this up. And because my financial reality means that it's going to take me 18 months to do that. And so now we've got ourselves a plan, don't we, Sally?
We do.
Yeah. And when we can see a plan and see a path, our confidence goes up, doesn't it, Sally?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you know what you need to do, don't you?
I do. I'm excited.
Right. I'm really proud of you. Thank you for sticking with me on this. I know I put you on the spot, but doesn't it feel better now?
It does. I appreciate it.
And what would you say to people who are going, oh my gosh, Sally just called and she didn't know and Ken put her on the spot? What would you tell people who are scared to call? What would you say to them?
Just do it.
Yes. See, that was fun. We got breakthrough for you, Sally. And by the way, you had the answers the whole time. All I did was help you dig. And I love helping folks dig. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Now, quick tease. We're going to go to the chat room, and then coming out of the chat room, I'm going to teach on understanding your unique role. And if you're watching right now, don't move, okay? Because I'm going to use Sally as an example of what we just walked through, and I'm going to help you see what her unique role is, okay? And it's going to really help many of you when you walk through this get clear, which is finding your sweet spot. In your sweet spot is really a primary role. And I like to challenge you to a one-word descriptor because it gives you so much clarity that as I move in and advance in my career, my sweet spot should move with me. I stay in that sweet spot. But I can do multiple things, jobs and careers, but I'm ultimately fulfilling that unique role when I'm in the sweet spot. So I'm going to unpack that for you, okay? So just stay tuned. All right, to the chat room we go. Asif writes in, should I leave my well-paid, secure job to look for a job that can move my career forward, or should I wait for the economy to recover first? Well, I don't think this is about the economy recovering. I think this is about your financial stability. So if you leave a well-paid, secure job to step into another job that you know is going to put you on the right path or on the ladder, if you will, then it has to be, is this a unstable job you're stepping into? And what does unstable mean? And then is it a slight pay cut, massive pay cut? You know, you've got to look at all these things and go, okay, it's worth waiting to put yourself in a financial position to take a slight pay cut or a significant pay cut. As long as you adjust your lifestyle, then I'm fine with it. So again, it's not so much about when the economy gets better. We don't know when that's going to happen. What does better constitute? The issue is, can you step from one dock onto another dock, not jumping just out in a free fall. Don't do that. I never, ever, ever believe that's the right move because the financial stress can just set you back to a point where you may never pursue it. And you're so wounded financially, emotionally, and all these other things. So it's just worth the wait. So I don't know more. I'd love to know more. This is a phone call. If you want to call in, we can walk through the details there. D Song writes in, what do you do if you've lost all motivation to continue doing your current job well? I've been looking for new opportunities and I'm not focused on my current role. Well, let me tell you what you need to do. You need to wake up and figure out your motivation. And your motivation is, I better continue doing my current job well or they're going to fire me. And then what does that mean for my reality? You want that? You want to be kicked out of the nest? You want to deal with what comes from that? Then keep just slogging along and not doing a good job. But you want to get your motivation where it needs to be, is that current job is your stability. It is your platform by which you will step up into something new. So I love that you're looking for something. That's awesome. But you better keep doing a great job. You know, it's back to that one of my favorite lines from The Great Debaters, a wonderful movie where the father says to the son who wants to just spend all of his time on the debate team. He's a great student, but his schoolwork is slacking because he's always focused on debate, which, again, the debate team's amazing, and they want to win the national championship, and he's a world-class kid. His dad looks at him and says, look, There's no debate team if you're not going to do your studies. And he says to him, do what you have to do, son, so that you can do what you want to do. And that's the situation you're in, D-Song, right now. Youtubefan2017 writes in, I've struggled financially all the way up to the last couple years. And now that I have a little money, I want to be my own boss. How do I get over the fear of starting a business? Well, fear is always going to be there. But the way to overcome fear is, what are you afraid of? Name it specifically. Write it down on paper. You've got to get it out of your head and look at this fear. Okay, so whatever it is, write it down. Second step is to then deconstruct the fear. Now, some of the fear could be based on bad decisions. So you got to ask yourself, would I make a bad decision, which would then create a result that I should be afraid of? But largely, fear is lying to you. Okay, and so let's deconstruct the fear. Let's just figure out why the fear. Okay, and as you begin to do that, now you need to refocus not on fear, but your future, faith in yourself. So that'll lead you to, is it too soon? Might be. You just got financially stable. So if you want to be your own boss, what has to be true? How much money will your company have to be able to make and then pay you what you're currently making? And if it's not going to do that right out of the gate, and most of the time it doesn't, then we start it on the side. And we build it up to where the side hustle eventually spits off enough revenue and then personal income for you to where you can step from the day job to the dream job. Again, this is idea of one dock to the next dock, or from one boat to the next boat. We're not jumping in the water without a life jacket. Okay? So the reality is that if that's what you should do, and you should, then there's not a whole lot to be afraid of, because you're not risking much at all. You're investing your time and some money to start it slow and just kind of get it going, and let's test it and try it, and let's not put all of our eggs in one basket. So that's my advice. 844-747-2577. Okay. So continuing to develop methodology here on the program, we're approaching, in September will be our third year, and we're talking about thousands and thousands of callers. And I open every show by saying, we believe that you were created to fill a unique role in this world. You were created to fill a unique role. And then I say that means you're really valuable, but it also means there's some duty here for you to actually understand this, figure out what the role is, and then actually do it. Somebody out there needs you to be you. And so when I say the word role, it's really important that you get it. And it occurred to me, I've got to do some more teaching and educating on this, because some people go, well, what's the difference between a role and a job? And because we use the words interchangeably in our language, okay? And so I don't want to confuse, but I really want you to grab this, okay? So the role is the idea that this is the part I play. So think of work as a Broadway show or a television show or a movie. This idea that we all play a role, okay? Are we the villain? So if we think about a play, are we the hero? Are we the supporting actor? Are we the wise mentor? Are we the agitator? All the roles that exist in any story. And so if you think of story and roles, you're going, okay, get that role. Okay. And so if you think about any story, there's nuances, right? We've got the instructor in the story. We've got the guide. We've got the cheerleader. We've got the parent. So again, all kinds of roles. If you break down any story, whether it be a book, a play, a television show, a movie. Okay, you got that. Now, let's pause for a moment. When we talk about the sweet spot, and that's an analogy that just talks about this idea that you are living and working in your sweet spot, and it just is beautiful. And people see you and they just look at you and they go, gosh, you were just born for this. You're just born for this. You're natural. So whether you've ever felt that, you've probably seen it in other people. You just go, oh, they're just a natural at that. Well, they're in their sweet spot because it looks effortless. And that's the idea here, is that when we strike a ball on the sweet spot of the instrument, the sporting instrument, that's where it's supposed to be hit. And so what happens is It feels effortless to the athlete. It looks effortless to the fan. And then maximum performance is created, all right? Speed and distance, okay? So that's the idea for you and your work. So you find your sweet spot at the intersection of talent, passion, mission. Talent, what you do best. Passion, what you love to do, the work itself. And then mission comes in when we go, I'm doing work that I love that also is creating a result that I'm like jacked about, fired up about, okay? Now get the difference. I can be good at a task, enjoy doing the task, but the result is kind of like, it's okay. Yeah. Or I can use my talent to perform my passion, to create a result that is missional for me. I care deeply about the result. Now that's a different game. That person is in their sweet spot. That person is truly filling the role. Okay? So what we've done in the past with callers, and I'm going to start to do more and more of this, is that when you figure out the intersection, and that's what our Career Clarity Guide does, and that's what Sally did. So Sally called in. She said, Ken, I'm struggling with the mission part. I can't really identify the people I want to help, the problem they have, and the solution to their problem, because those are the three questions under mission. Who do you most want to help? What problem do those folks have or want? So it doesn't always have to be a need. It could be a want. All right. And then what's the solution or solutions to that need or want you get fired up about? So she said, Ken, I'm struggling. I can't come up with anything. So we went back to her passion, and she told us, well, I'm passionate about health and wellness. I'm passionate about helping others specifically. I love to kind of give them their source, their resource, really connecting them to their answer. And so we put her on the spot. I said, well, then who are the people you want to help after getting some of that? And she still couldn't give me an answer. Froze. I don't know. It's hard to be specific. I said, forget about being specific. Let's move down. What are the problems you get excited about helping out with? Solving these problems in the workplace, what would that be? And she said, health and wellness. I said, let's be more specific. Came down to exercise and nutrition. And I asked her why, because she had a breakthrough in her life. Total physical transformation. She wants other people to experience that. And I said, well, what if you could do that all day, every day, knowing that you help somebody transform their life just like you transformed your own? She said, Ken, it'd be unspeakable. I don't even know how to describe it. That's it. That's the whole point of everything I teach. That's what gives you the juice, is talent, passion, mission together. See, you can use your talent alone. Just do a job that you're good at. You're just good at it. But you don't love the work. You just happen to be good at it. And the result of your work, there's no deep, abiding connection. You don't get fired up over it. You go, that's nice. It doesn't fire you up. So you'll be successful. You can also use your talent to perform your passion and stop there, meaning you're good at the work and you really love the work. But if you look at the results of your work and does it connect your heart, really make your heart swell? No, again, you're kind of proud of it and I do really good work, but it doesn't set me on fire. Then you'll be satisfied. But if you use your talent to perform your passion, to see your mission happen, meaning the results of your work, they fire you up to the point that you can get emotional about it. Now, see, that's significance. That's what I am teaching and preaching. Now, quick aside, you don't get all of your significance from your work. You are more than just a worker. You are multidimensional. And I don't want you to have all of your identity wrapped up in your work, okay? But as it relates to your work contribution and your role, that's where you derive that significance, and that's where you get the juice. And you don't feel like you're working. You can work your fanny off. You know it's hard and have tough days, but boy, it's worth it all every night. So This idea of the role. In the sweet spot, that's the role. And you go, okay, what's the role? What's one word that describes most of my day if I'm playing this part, right? Filling this role. I'm experiencing significance. So what's a word? Is it leader? Is it trailblazer? Is it counselor? Is it connector? Is it fixer? Is it caregiver? Is it negotiator? Is it organizer? Throwing these words out. And again, if you're new to the program, keep listening, but also go to kencoleman.com and get the Career Clarity Guide. It's a free resource. I'm not selling you anything. And it's going to walk you through just a basic version of what I just taught. But really try to figure out that role, that one word that will describe, boy, if I'm filling this role in the story of life, the story of my work, I'm alive. There's no wrong word. You could change the word. But really grab this. So when I talk about role, I really want you to get this. Your unique role lives in your sweet spot. That's where you find it. And then when you figure out that role, and I gave you all these one-word examples, then you look to the marketplace. How are all the ways? Where are all the ways that I can be that conductor, that facilitator, the cheerleader, the coach, whatever it is? When we figure that out, we go, oh my goodness, so much freedom. I'm not worried about one job. I'm not worried about missing the wrong career. I know my role and I can do it in so many places. It's a game changer. It'll free you up. So when I talk about role, your unique role, understand that you find that in your sweet spot. 844-747-2577 is the number to call. We'll be back tomorrow, but Joe, my time has run out. Before I go, you matter. You do have what it takes. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.